Good evening and welcome, free enterprise fans. We have what I think is going to be the hypest of hype races tonight. The end of the group stages and the group flags for this Final Fantasy IV Highway to the Threemus Zone tournament. My name is Vitasia and I'm joined tonight by LMMotoss. How are we doing tonight, Motoss?
I'm great, Vitasia, and here at the finale of the Magma route, this is the last chance for any runners to get into the table stage of the tournament. 13 players are entering this race tonight, and only 3 will be moving on. So we have this match here with McBain, Couch23, BursikBadger, and Smaepdii, but we also have our sister channels as Free Enterprise and Randomania. Their partner channels are going to be playing also 4 players each, with one player left out. But we tried to get as many people as we could into these races.
All right, and this is absolutely a hype match. Yeah, because 3 of these runners across all of these channels will be advancing. The top 3, not necessarily the first on each of the 3 restreams. It's going to be the top 3, regardless. They're all in the same race. They're all in the same seed. But we wanted to bring you as much of this hot highway to the 3 action, so you can also check us out at our other partner channels that are running the same seed simultaneously, going on both at twitch.tv/free enterprise and also twitch.tv/randomania. I think we're on Prime, right?
Oh yeah, that's the case. And with this restream here is brought to you by Moonblaze Wolf, and we have 2 trackers tonight: Bahamut X and Ground Flyer. So we will be starting off with Edge today. How do you feel about an Edge start in a match that has this high of stakes?
Edge fixes a lot of problems, and an early Edge makes for a really interesting end game. Early Edge can kind of skip like the first 10 minutes that you would normally do. You don't have to get a couple levels in Antlion before you go do Mount Ordeals or do the Baron Inn, for example. Also, Edge has kind of a mid-game strategy later. His steal ability, being able to steal sirens from those alerts in the lower Babel area from those trap chests. We have to go to lower Babel anyway because we will have to destroy the super cannon. So, I mean, that's our grind right there as well. Edge is just a very versatile player and character to get. And this early is just, turning cheat mode on a little bit.
Yeah, we have no moon objectives tonight. We have just complete Cave Magnus, destroy the super cannon, and defeat the king at the Town of Monsters. So underground access is all we need here besides your regular key items. And that means that our players know they have access to a grind already. They have access to the tower where they can steal sirens if they can't find them in shops, and they have access to omelets. So it's a situation where our players kind of have some things open to them, but they also have some things guaranteed from the beginning, so they can begin to plan a little easier.
And then we turn around and think, none of these things require the moon, or do they? Because Cave Magnus requires the Twin Harp, which could be locked behind a moon boss. Destroy the super cannon requires the Tower Key, which could be locked up on the moon. Let's not forget the Kokol, either the Legend or the Adamant could be locked up on the moon. So, this is a really kind of a spicy flag set in that none of the end objectives are on the moon, but they could be gatekeeping on the moon at that point in time. Only the defeat the king at the Town of Summon Monsters is guaranteed to be able to get, right away, because we have to be able to have underground access at some point. So, I mean, this could be really an interesting flag set. This could either be super fast or it might be super slow.
Yeah, and the best 3 out of 4 objectives. We've seen that forging has been not as popular through the rest of the tournament, of course, because it takes 2 key items instead of 1. However, depending on the routing and where these key items are, it may end up to be a good choice for our runners. And of course, with so many runners and such an open start, we may see actually different objectives completed by different runners depending on what they discover first. And it looks like we now are on our way.
So Edge looks like he's going to have another martial arts buddy in Yang. Oh my gosh! Into hook opener.
Yeah, we see Rubicon and Baron Castle, so getting potential underground access right away. It's not free, so we may still see some players be looking around for Magma Key up here, but Edge and Young is not a bad start at all, and will allow you to do a lot of early checks and gain some party power before you tackle that hook route.
Yeah, it really makes this early game interesting. And knowing that this is an elimination match, I got to wonder who is going to dive into the hook route first. You know, a lot of players like to search for the overworld because that doesn't necessarily mean Magma isn't available in the overworld. There's a certain percentage chance that it still is possible, but you know, you gotta make some questionable calls when you're in an elimination race. And McBain finding a second edge and a Palom buddy in Mysidia.
This is a heck of a lot of power to start this match off with. Palom, of course, is very well regarded among players, gaining Quake quite early in his rotation, so you don't have to get too many levels on him before he gets it. He gets second level black magic spells after just one battle with him, basically. Meanwhile, on our other screens, we are seeing a pretty standard now. We've come to expect the waterway open. The treasures here can be very nice, especially Edge really wants to get a ninja sword or above to really kick up the damage here in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, he's got short swords, which are fine for this first part of the overworld. When you start going into the underground is when you start wishing for something else at this point in time. So we do see some other checks, waterway checks, Dragoon armor, and we're seeing Smaepdii checking the bushes there in Baron as well. We have a Sid that's also in that waterway available to us.
Yeah, out of the free characters that we've seen, we're basically only missing a white mage now. We've got a pretty solid physical attacker party with some black mage backup. So really, if we find a white mage anywhere, any kind, that would be nice. And I think we'll see our players begin checking less characters after that.
White mage is kind of all we're missing right now. Rosa would be optimal. Porum will make do. Oh, there's my girlfriend, Rosa Bay.
Imagine you're in an elimination match and you see Edge, Palom, Sid, Yang, and Rosa as your free characters. This is just, this seed is giving and giving.
Yeah, at this point, you know, you're probably incredibly happy with the characters that you end up finding right now. The only thing that's causing me to be a little bit concerned is double edges. Now, double edges is fantastic in terms of setting yourself up to steal a bunch of sirens once you get to the underground. But really, to get Edge turned online to where he's doing quite a bit of damage, you have to get 2 weapons for each Edge. So he's kind of, you know, double the equipment need of most of your other heavy hitters when it comes to the in-game melee fighters. So it's forgive me for a pun, it's a double-edged sword at this point in time, because those swords aren't cheap if you find ninja swords somewhere, but otherwise you're double hunting for swords if you have 2 edges. So it'll be interesting to see what our runners end up doing with 2 edges.
And we can see our runners are leaving no stone unturned here. They're leaving nothing to chance. We are seeing lots of checks of optional bosses. We find red robes in the watery pass, everyone resetting out of that. In Mist Cave, meanwhile, we found CPU resetting out of that as well. And at Hobbs, we have Ashura. So we get a lot of time-consuming bosses out of the way. Not going to be fighting any of those today.
And you know, it's really kind of interesting as we're going and we find another short sword. That's insulting. You know, you have to, as a runner, approach a group race a little bit different than you do a one-on-one race. In a one-on-one, it's just, okay, what does my opponent do? And I have to make sure I do stuff that my opponent doesn't do. And kind of you optimize that way. In a large group race like this, you can presume someone, somewhere, is going to be doing things optimally. So you have to pick and choose, and everything that you do that is a waste of time is an actual waste of time. You can't count on your opponent to also having been done the logical check, because there's 13 opponents.
We do find a full moon here in Antline Cave. That's going to be useful. Can back row glitch Edge, and also it is actually an attack power boost as well over the short sword. We're just finding Mylon Z here in Antlion. 3 players going to get through that at 1 or 2 swings each.
Oh, and a spoon to start off with. You know, I don't think we're going to be ditching any of our current party members for Edward, who can equip that spoon. But it's an interesting thing to keep in your back pocket right now. You can throw it with your edge for almost automatic quad 9s, no matter where you end up falling at that point in time, which is super interesting if you have a gatekeeping boss that you're worried about getting through, say, in a hook route.
Yeah, and at this point, you know, your party's set up. These players are already thinking about their Zeromus fight at this point. So I don't know if, even if they were to find a free Edward here, like on Ordeals where we haven't seen yet, I would doubt any of them would be taking him at this point unless they're really trying some spicy strategies.
Meanwhile, Smaepdii is doing kind of a deeper dive into the waterfall cave than we've seen any of our other runners go. We'll see if he ends up finding anything. A drain sword is interesting, if not for the party members that he has.
And looks like we are seeing most of our players go to the Fabul defense here. This isn't a bad idea. You want to fish for any quick ways where you can maybe find a magma key in this situation, because if you can get underground, you're guaranteeing that your party will be able to gain enough power to boost you to the end game.
See, and here's the really, really interesting part about all of this, though. Early game, you already come to a major decision. Do you hunt for magma, or do you go ahead and early dive into the hook part? You know, there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer. And if you continue to hunt and the magma key isn't up here, you can bet that someone else in the seed didn't hunt and they dove early and they're in the lead at this point in time. So then you start having to take chances to try to catch up at that point. Really, this is going to be a great, great race as we move through here. Oh, wow. But there is value from defending Fabul.
Any of our players who fade Fabul here will be instantly punished. That's going to be a real bad pickup to see if you get underground and check Sylph Cave and then come all the way here before you find out that that's where it is.
Yeah, that tower key, you know, makes dipping into that tower. I mean, you already have 2 edges. At this point, I'm probably even strongly considering skipping shopping in the underworld. Honestly, I'll steal it.
Yeah, checking your objectives is a very high priority here, because you can get another key item and you have to do the objective anyways. And the cannon room is definitely doable by just the double edges, unless you get like the absolute worst case scenario boss there. But you can see, speaking of shopping, a lot of our players are not checking a lot of shops yet, which means they're probably going to all be looking for the magma key and exhaust their spots up here. If we were looking at an early hook dive, we would probably be seeing more shopping as they looked for those almighty hourglasses, because this party will still need some levels, and Castle Evelyn is a great place to do that, but those battles are a little dicey without hourglasses at this current party power.
Those hourglasses are, help me understand, in this particular flag set, the hourglasses are a certain item, like tier, I thought that could not be found in the overworld. Like they have to be locked behind something like in Cave Evelyn.
Yeah, they do need to be behind a key item locked shop. So we're talking the Cave Evelyn shop is the only one up here that they could get it from.
Well, we do have some Ordeals play. I wanted to expect some folks to fade Ordeals, but we do see Couch 23, who is going up here to Ordeals. Other than the fact that he's hunting for key items, you know, the other reason to do Ordeals is to activate Attila to get his full spell list online, or to activate a Cecil in order to transform him from a Dark Knight to a Paladin. We have neither at this point in time, and we've seen neither on all of our streamed folks at this point. So this is just purely a key item check at this point. hoping that the Magma key is up.
Yeah, and the fact that we're seeing actually 3 players now coming up here to do this 3 boss slog before they do Baron in just tells you that most of them are planning to check everything and make sure that there's no Magma key hiding. And of course, of the Moon Sparkles, Plague is pretty much the one you want to see, except for the very fastest spots, pretty much anywhere. It's nice to see because you can cheese him, you can make him recount, you can reflect his count on him. There's a lot of ways to deal with him, and we do get the fan favorite backwards karate, the back attack. Will we get the kick around the world, or will he go down too quickly? Oh, there it is!
The kick around the world, of course. You know, we couldn't program everything perfectly. And when the Karate Man kicks in this particular position, he always expects to kick to the right. And he still kicks to the right when he's the enemy. Only problem is, he's not on the right.
Yeah, I find it really interesting out of all the choices that our players have, that so many of our players on this restream are deciding to come up here ordeals. This is I don't know if it's Galaxy Brain or desperation.
It is. I mean, I think it's a little bit about, honestly. I think you're hoping. Whenever you're setting yourself up for a race, and this is kind of the most important thing in any randomizer, not just this one. You know that you're going to gamble in certain ways. You know that you're going to route in certain ways, and I think at some point you have to hope that those gambles pay out. Like in a large group race like this, where it's win or go home, it's stick to your gambles and hope that they play out. And if they don't, go back and recover and hope that everyone else did it at the same thing. But you just kind of got to stick to your guns at this point in time. So they're all doing the same thing and hoping that this is the right play.
Yeah, you can say there's no half measures. Once you commit to a rabbit hole or a gambit, you have to go. And oh my goodness, we do get a payoff with the adamant ore, which is half of one of our objectives.
That could be interesting. We already have the ability to destroy the super cannon, and we do have the ability to defeat the king at the town of monsters once we eventually get to the underground, presumably, unless it's something super nasty like a wyvern. So having half of that really opens up some possibilities in terms of what we might see for the rest of this fight.
Would this seed be audacious enough to skip music and deny the fans their tunes?
I've learned long ago, never count anything out of rando.
Oh, hey, meanwhile, Odin and Baron in.
We see, BursikBadger is actually, he equipped a Thunderclaw onto his edge because you get some nice damage doing any sort of thunder damage to Odin.
Yes, we like to say everyone's favorite claw, the Thunderclaw. Oh, and everything's going pretty swimmingly here. All of our players getting through doors. We get an Earth Crystal from the Baron Inn, which is spicy. 2 more character checks, plus access to the Troya Treasury.
At some point, you have to ask yourself, is this taking me on a wild goose chase? Should I just go underground, do the hook route?
Yeah, when you have underground access, this is a rabbit hole for sure, and it's a big gamble to go check it.
Looks like we're heading that way. Maybe. Oh, okay. Bursik is going to take a quick check here.
Yeah, I mean, at least you got to check that treasury because your edge is very equipment dependent, as we've been saying. So you definitely want to see if you can grab some good swords from there. And instead, finding that CPU going to reset just like everybody else did.
Yep, and it looks like he's going up to the treasury. So, ladies and gentlemen in chat, we have a very important task for all of you at this point in time. Once we get there, come on, Bursik. I'm trying to hype you up here. Come on. All right, he will eventually get there, I'm sure. He wouldn't dare deny chat the latest meme and the latest game that we have here in the Final Fantasy IV free enterprise community, and that is Rate That Treasury.
Rate That Treasury!
Game. All we do is... Yeah, okay, he's going in here. So, Rate the Treasury. Get your best grade out of 10. What's it gonna be? And I mean, we'll share our grades as well, but it is very important. This is the highest probability spot for some really top tier treasures here. Artemis Bow, Stardust Rod, Cabin, Apple, Poison Axe, Full Moon, White Robe, and a Rune Ring.
Rate That Treasury!
Caster's Starter Pack. Keep in mind, Stardust Rod, and the Rune Ring are the best in slot for any sort of black mage.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like the empty flag or sparse flag has hit the treasury quite hard. About half the chests were already empty, and no ninja swords at that.
Bursik is going to go ahead and do the Earth Crystal. He's following his gambles at this point. I think he said, okay, I'm going to fade Hook as long as I can. So he's making the play.
If this ends up to be a Magma key, then this will be an absolute coup for Bursik.
And because I promised that I would rate that treasury, I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. It's nice for your casters, but especially for if you have two edges, not having a single sword, underwhelming.
Yeah, Rosa is definitely the biggest benefactor here, but she has access to so much good gear that you're probably going to get something nice as far as her magic defense goes anyways.
We did get another full moon, and that's higher attack power than a short sword, so...
Oof, the big lightning too, showing just how susceptible that Odin is to lightning. And it looks like that Earth Crystal is going to funnel up pretty much all of our players to check this treasury. And we'll see how many of them decide to go up the tower as well with Bursik. We do find Valvalis in the Magus Sister's spot.
I don't think this will be a problem. I mean, we'll get through this relatively easy, but your casters are going to be close to worthless at this point.
Yeah, this is where your edges and Sid are definitely going to bail you out, because once she starts spinning, it's going to be hard to hit with your magic. Ooh, a little bit of flashy exit there. Didn't even take the time to walk out.
Ain't nobody got time for that. This is a speed run.
And Bursik actually reset there.
That's interesting. Oh, he's gonna throw a... Wow, throwing a spoon there? That feels wasteful to me.
Yeah, I think it seems like the hit rate was not what he was looking for there. So he was just trying to get as much through before the tornado phase made him waste a whole lot of time.
Meanwhile, McBain is going to be the first one to commit to the dive at this point in time. He is going into the underground, into Cave Eblin. Might check a couple in a second. Stardust draw. What?
Yeah, the Cave Evelyn shop is extremely compelling here. You're still looking for star veils, hourglasses, coffins. You're still looking for definitely Bacchus. There they are. We got hourglasses and Bacchus here. This shop always seems to pay dividends.
Yeah, that was, part of me wanted to see sirens, but that part of me is also the part that forgets that I have two edges. So let's ignore that part. Boxes and hourglasses, that's almost ideal for what our party's done.
Yeah, the only problem when the shop pays off is if you don't have enough money for what you want now, this is one of the longest time commitment shops to return to later to pick up, little spare extras. So it's better if you can get the money to buy everything you need and never come back to this shop again.
McBain did also show us ninja swords are also available at the weapon shop in Cave Evelyn. Those are kind of the best swords that we can hope to buy, unless for whatever reason, there's something better available in the Cocal shop once that is unlocked.
Yeah, this is would have paid off for anybody who came here first to get that knowledge. Meanwhile, we see Couch using an interesting strat. We see some bluffs on the Palom. That's in order to raise the magic power. And you may ask, well, what does the magic power help when it's not going to hit? Well, accuracy and power are kind of linked in this game. So actually raising your spell power increases your chance to hit as well.
Also, looks like McBain showing us our favorite traitorous dragoon showing up in Cave Evelyn. I think we're set in terms of party comp. Meanwhile, we have a vanilla Golbez, and that is being shown to us by BursikBadger.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah, I don't know my feelings about that, but it does make me more hesitant to go into Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, so we do have the double check available because we do have Warp Glitch on, but Palom needs a few levels to get Warp, which is fine because our party does have access to Sirens as soon as they get underground. And actually, McBain took that cane.
He ditched his Sid. He did not have a Yang, so that cat claw that he found early on, he just sold it. So given his party comp, yeah, I think I'd rather have a cane than a Sid. It might play havoc a little bit later when he starts setting up his agility for Zeromus. Ooh. Oh no.
Oh, Bursik getting punished heavily for the Earth Crystal play here. Wyvern is not what you want to see. It's time to get that battle speed down and make sure, and there's no Star Veils in the inventory that I see. That's a problem.
He does have a couple from the opening. I think I didn't see them. They're down and not over what he usually is. But yeah, that's spicy. Because at this point in time, you've gambled coming here. Like, you have gambled that Zot is the play. And knowing that Wyvern is here, you kind of feel like you have to commit to it because anyone else who came here is probably also banging their head against the wall, but you're not feeling really great about yourself right now.
Yeah, along with the knowledge that they're going to have about that vanilla Golbez means, like, I'm feeling kind of behind just because I know the double check isn't there really, as far as the fast double check isn't there. You're going to have to sit through Golbez. And the characters aren't really paying off up here either, as far as I'm concerned.
And this time, Bursik says, "No, I'm going to stick with my dwarf axed Sid to try to slow things down here. He's not going to lower his battle speed."
Yeah, I try not to do that unless I have to, because there's always the chance you forget to change it back and play the whole game on like battle speed 3 or 4, which would be a disaster.
So here's the interesting thing. Both Smaepdii and Couch23 are also on that Volvalis fight. Does look like Bursik does get a couple Star Veils off, so he will get through this fight. But Couch and Smaepdii are going to be in for kind of a rude awakening here directly.
Oh no, it's another Moon Sparkle at the hook route, and that's a D-Lunars.
This is a pretty good spot. McBain is chucking a spoon and chucking a drain spear as well. This is what I would call an appropriate use of that spoon, because this could be a nasty fight here unless he gets through it.
Yeah, this is where you really want to just get this fight done with ASAP. They got a nasty HP-based counterattack. You can't use normal attacks on them or else they start bouncing viruses off themselves to hit you. So, and as you can see, they still punch pretty hard as well. So you just want to power through.
And it's just a pink tail. All that work just for a pink tail. So they know now you gotta go the hook route.
This puts McBain squarely in the lead of this restream, because the other three, that Volvalis is so much time, and I can only assume potential wipes to Wyvern as well. Oh, you hate to see that pink tail there. That's the tragedy.
And McBain is gifted. I mean, he got through that D-Lunar fight and was gifted with, here's a free gate into the underground. Just our Kaipo soldiers. And yeah, he threw out an hourglass. They're all stopped. This is a free fight from this point forward.
Yeah, and we can see Bursik is now wasting no time getting down to Cape Evelyn, and is now aware of just what a rabbit hole that was, and is going to waste no time diving as well. This took about 10 minutes for Bursik, and that's 10 minutes these runners do not have. Remember, there's 13 runners in this race, and the odds that some of them did hook as fast as possible are pretty high.
Yeah, it's only the top 3 that move on, so you have to think, if you think that's a coin flip of a decision, well, 50% of the runners made the decision correctly. 3 out of the 4 runners that we have here actually did it, but when you're running, you're isolated. You don't get to see what everyone else is doing. You don't get to see the decisions they made. So you're guessing, and you're hoping, and you're praying, and you're doing the best math in your head.
Yeah, and you can just tell how Bursik's feeling right now, because there's absolutely no looting here, and Cave Evelyn is not interested. It's just like, get me down here now.
All right, so Smaepdii and Couch now both realizing, oh no, I don't know about this.
Yeah, this is really bad, but now that you're already here, you have to at least see if it pays off. I understand not noping out here when you see the Wyvern. You already spent the time. You got to do it.
Yeah, it's committing to the gambles. It's exactly what I was saying earlier. You get it, you got to commit to it.
McBain getting through the soldier fight there, made sure to hourglass so that the commander did not escape. Although that fight doesn't actually give experience, so it really doesn't matter if he runs or not. It was just making sure they didn't punch too much.
The Rubicon fight does give experience. It's the King Queen Evelyn fight before that doesn't give experience.
Oh, well then this was a very smart play.
Meanwhile, so McBain is going to be our first runner into the underground, at least on the restream. Again, we have no idea how anyone else is doing, and for those people who I know you're keeping track of the other races that are going on both Free Enterprise and Rainbow Mania, please do us all a favor, do not spoil. We just want to see how this is all going on Vista for us. So as far as we're concerned, McBain is winning.
Yeah, and I can imagine McBain just straight up landing the airship and going straight back in here to check the and yes, just landing right away, no movement, is gonna go check the cannon room with that tower key already in hand.
You know, he's probably questioning. He also has that Earth Crystal and wondering if it was that the play. But he's got the adamant. You know, he did some things that weren't, I would say, optimal. So he might even still be feeling behind. But it's interesting. He's not checking any treasure chests at this point in time. That's something that surprises me a little bit. 2 edges, I'd be looting some treasures, if only to make sure that I have my Siren grind ready to go.
Yeah, he may be banking on finding them in one of the shops down here, and he may be able to loot then and get the money. He basically needs more knowledge. He wants to know if he's gonna how much money he's gonna have when he finds sirens, and then if he doesn't find them, he can come back here. And it's also going to depend. It looks like going to be doing the full tower, not just the halfie. So we're going to get 2 views here of potential key item checks, and I like this play. The hook route is actually after the tower boss in vanilla. So if you have the party power to beat the hook route, now tonight it happened to be pretty free. But if you do, then odds are you can take the tower boss as well. And we do find a Dark Knight Cecil. So as long as we can get some heals off, I think McBain's going to be good here.
Yeah, and we have a Rosa. Rosa, I guess, has the white shirt, so should be able to put out some decent loot at the very least. Question chat, what did the Pintail have? I have no idea.
Oh yeah, and it looks like the damage here is fine. Even the lower HP characters are going to be able to live as long as these Cure 2 potions get off. This is going to be nice for McBain.
Really, get this Cure 2 off, absolutely. If it does enough, might maybe a little worried about everyone surviving. Yeah, Rose is going to take it fall, try to get a life up. Okay, does get a life up. So everyone does get, this is a decent chunk of experience here. So you want to try to get everyone going.
Yeah, that was a really good recovery from McBain. Managed to use every ATB tick and get Rosa back up. That's nice. I gotta really applaud that.
Alum getting close. Learning Drain. Okay, just a lightsaber for our key item. Really the key before we even consider going into Dwarf Castle is getting Hallam to learn Warp so we can get that Warp glitch going. But McBain is the one runner right now that does not know that there is a nasty surprise waiting for him if he decides to eventually go into that Dwarf route.
Yeah, this is why having Edge here, which by the way, forget about seeing him as much once the table flags start after this week. But having him and knowing you can get sirens if you need them is great, because you only need like 1 or 2 eggs. You need quite a few eggs to get weak. Scratch that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to grind up to the point where Palom learns weak, you might as well grind all the way to where he gets nuked at that point.
Oh, look at the cute Mega Sisters trying to fire the cannon at dwarves. Well, they're not going to last too long.
And he's got a Mute Knife equipped, of all things. Mute Knife does, I think it's quad damage against mage types.
Yeah, that's that racial damage that the vanilla Final Fantasy IV never really explains to you or tells you what items do it or which enemies get it. You can see McBain is still so far ahead, and none of the other runners are even down through the tower yet.
So Smaepdii does find his disappointment. That is Artemis Bow. You know, Artemis Bow is nice, but it is, you know, a significant hit to Rosa's ability to cast white magic. So you don't want to equip it on her if you need her to heal. And you already got a Stardust Rod for your Palom. You might throw that on, if you have some decent arrows, throw that on Sid. Maybe? He can cast a spell.
Yeah, Sid is a decent archer actually, and you know, as if besides Rosa, I would consider him kind of the second tier archer for the party.
I think when you take opportunity cost of what you lose when you equip the artist spell, I think he's top tier. He's number 1.
Yeah, I would like to throw him in the center slot though, because Sid's accuracy leaves a bit to be desired, which doesn't just, like we said with the magic earlier, it doesn't just determine if you hit or not. It also determines the amount of damage rolls that you actually get for your damage range. So accuracy is pretty important as far as your damage output goes.
McBain is now setting up. Oh, he's attacking. I'm confused.
I'm not sure what's up here. If McBain just wants some quick levels here, but or is looking for equipment. There was an attempt to sneak.
Yeah, but it looks like he has his top edge zerked, which, of course, is going to make quick work of that alert, and he's rewarded with an elixir. So I'm not quite sure what McBain. Now, here's the interesting thing, because I believe as soon as you leave the tower here, you can't come back. Like you're done. It is not open to you anymore, right?
Well, that is true in the vanilla game, but it's not true in a free enterprise. Just because if you did the super cannon and then left, this cutscene would play, and then you couldn't go back in to do the top of tower boss. We do get a white spear there, though, so McBain is getting kind of rewarded for keeping Kane. But it does seem like the tower was a bust. You know, of course, the cannon room was an objective, so you can't call it completely a bust.
Yep. So it's kind of required at this point in time. So we have done the super cannon. So we have one objective complete by McBain at 37 minutes. No other runners have done an objective. At this point, what's your feeling about this race at this point? Obviously, kind of a heavy bottleneck to get to the underground, a little bit of a rabbit hole there with the Earth Crystal. What's your feeling about the race so far?
If I'm one of the runners, I'm panicking right now because I only need one key item to finish Objective 1. I only need one key item to finish Objective 2. I only need one of those two, so I'm one key item away, and the underground has a lot of checks in it. You have the free check from Sylph Cave. You have the free check in Feymarch, which no one has shown us yet. You have a double check in Dwarf Castle still that you haven't seen, and any one of those could have paid off for your opponents while you were off doing the tower, which the cannon room, of course, is not a bad play, but going up to the top maybe will have turned out to have been a mistake.
McBain is going ahead and going to dive into Dwarf Castle. I don't know what level his Palom is. I'm honestly a little concerned. Like, I don't know if his Palom knows Warp.
I can only think that that's what he was trying to get in that with that siren or alert fight in the tower. But we'll see. We'll check the spell list here and see what's going on. Because I did see Quake, so that's great. And we do have Berserk on Rosa. So some levels have been gained somewhere along the line. And yeah, there's Warp. So good to go. Meanwhile, Smaepdii is actually like full checking Cave Evelyn, has checked the pots in the infirmary, got the stale men fight, meaning the rest of the chests in here are good to go. There's only one trap chest in Cave Evelyn, so the rest of these chests can be safely checked. No need to worry about more fights. Meanwhile, Couch having a little bit of trouble with these D-Lunars. The edges are very hurt. A couple of characters down. We can see has decided to maybe save some resources that McBain had used here.
Yeah, this is kind of part of the split-second decision-making that is so important to be successful in this sort of randomizer, knowing that, hey, this is going to be a spot that if I don't use this spoon, it's going to take me forever. So chunking it early, I'm really kind of a fan of what McBain did at that point in time. He had his resources and he knew the appropriate point to use it. Not that Couch didn't get through it just fine, but he did it in about 3 times the amount of time that McBain did at similar levels.
If we see a third Rosa here, which of course is not taken by McBain, and McBain actually finding this Golbez and tried to kill his mages off before the cutscene part of the fight stopped, but they had too much HP. He wasn't able to get them down before the hold gas came out. A valiant attempt.
You can see him kind of dancing with his palom there, going, okay, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He would have liked to have had both edges alive for the second half, especially because we have another battle coming up. So you can't just power through this one. You actually have to kind of prep yourself for the second battle as well.
Vanilla Golbez, this is the second battle.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, we did see one Reflect get up. The odd thing about this particular spot is Golbez casts a lot of high-level magic, but the magic attack in this particular spot is not actually very good. So he's just supposed to be scary. He's not supposed to necessarily hit hard.
Yeah, I believe this is like the first time in the game you see the third level magic spells, and you're supposed to get all freaked out. But we see the scripted end there when he's low on HP. Why? And he goes down. So we're gonna get a double check here coming up.
Is it a discount double check?
Oh, it's very discount. It's free, in fact.
I'm just telling you, guys, we have some corporate sponsor opportunity. Give us a call. We're waiting on you.
This is the Warp Glitch Key Item Check, sponsored by Bacchus Wine. Bacchus, when you just hate the moon.
So true. All right, so we're gonna get our warp on. This is supposed to be what's ever in the sealed cave. Just an assassin dagger. I mean, that's a weapon upgrade for one of your edges, so not terrible, but not necessarily what you want to see.
Oh, Luca hands over the Twin Harp. That's the ability to complete all the objectives is now in McBain's hands.
1 done. 2 and 3 ready to go. Yeah, we're not going to get that Cocal Forge, I don't believe, unless there's still a possibility. Oh, Bursik just found something a little bit spicy that is going to come in not handy at all. Bursik found the crystals.
Stack of cash.
Frog Splash asks, are water attacks like Big Wave considered ice element? Frog Splash, no. The wave attacks are kind of interesting. There's the big waves that are more, there's the percentage-based attacks, which are some of the big wave attacks, but then Kenyatso does a different, and I'm sure I'm messing up the actual names of the waves themselves, but like, the big waves that Leviathan and Ogopogo cast are based on a percentage of your total health, and it's 25% of your total health per wave. However, the wave that Kenyatso casts is based on a total of his hit points, which can get pretty high depending on which location it is. So they're not ice elemental attacks at all. No.
And this is no surprise. Bursik now is going to scramble some eggs. McBain is now heading down to check what is the boss that is going to be necessary for Objective 4. This is a good move because it will allow McBain to kind of get situated as to how much grinding is necessary in order to do this objective, because we still don't have the moon access or the pass. So besides doing the objectives, we are going to have to keep doing key item checks. So doing your entire grind right now could still backfire.
True, but at least you know that you don't have to go up to the moon. And that was something that we had talked about kind of early in the before the race started. You know, if we get early moon access, do you make the dive because of the number of key items that we could possibly need? Oh, hello, there's the darkness crystal. Now we have our moon access. We're done. We're in go mode.
Wow, just happens to be on the way to one of the objectives. You love to see it.
So we already know that Wyvern is off the table. What other bosses do we not want to see here at this king spot?
I would really hate to see, well, we saw the Rubicante sprite at the beginning of the game, but that could have been Rubicant or the elements. Either one of those I'm not happy about, but Rubicant by himself especially here. Also, any of the remaining moon bosses I don't want to see.
And it is Baigen. He's going to give it a shot.
Yeah, we did have illusions for sale, so this is a situation where you may just be able to brute force with illusions, but gosh, you got to get them off really quick.
Both of these spots, both the King and Queen of Evelyn, are notoriously fast spots. King less so than Queen, but the King is still very, very fast. Yeah, this is kind of a nasty spot all told.
This is good, though, because McBain has the knowledge of what the boss is now and what he's going to need in order to defeat it. So I can imagine we're going to see either some Siren Thief stealing and egg scrambling next if this doesn't pay out, or some other, looking for something else, because he now knows he doesn't need any more key items, meaning searching to get 10 is straight up a mistake at this point.
Yeah, so it looks like McBain has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7 key items? Yeah, there's no point. This has got to be one of the first races I can remember seeing where we're not even entering Selfgate at all, ever.
Yeah, the good thing for McBain here is that his Rosa was not sniped, so is able to blink. He only had 3 illusions, so he needs Rosa to stay alive in order to re-blink everyone, which is why he was waiting there to see. Ooh, but we can see she's not fast enough. If McBain gets unlucky here even once, and an arm takes out Rosa while she's not illusioned, this is going to be rough. Meanwhile, Smaepdii is our last Restreamed runner through, and will be entering the underground now. So we'll see where he goes. Couch is going to Rough Castle now. I find it interesting that pretty much all of our runners on this restream have chosen Dwarf Castle before the free checks. I guess it kind of makes sense because they're hoping that they'll be able to go down and do the king at the Town of Monsters without having to double dip, but it's very interesting. They're all doing the same choice out of all the choices in the underground.
And that runs kind of counter to what we've learned is the prevailing wisdom of this tournament so far in the table, in the group flags, which is always do your free checks.
McBain is actually doing quite well here, has managed to kill one of the arms. Of course, both arms are back now. I think accidentally killed the rear arm, but is managed to keep the blinks up. This fight is going to be long, though, for McBain. I have to wonder if going and grinding and then coming back here would have actually been the faster play.
Part of me thinks so. Now, keep in mind that he did not steal any of those sirens as he was going through the tower. BursikBadger did, though. So I gotta think Bursik, I think long-term, is set up a little bit nicer than McBain, even though McBain was the first one into the underground.
Yeah, McBain doesn't have a great source of damage here, so is being forced to use Quake in order to deal good damage. Of course, Baigen puts up a wall, so you have to use black magic that targets the entire party, like Quake, in order to get through it. But 2 Quakes do take out the arms, so it is lightening up the load on Rosa as far as re-blinking everyone.
Our wonderful restreamer, Moonblaze, also pointing out in chat, Bursik not going to get penalized. He skipped ordeals entirely. Like, even though he's a little bit, and he followed that Earth Crystal route, he skipped ordeals entirely. Given his party comp, that's kind of an understandable thing to do. We did find the Adamant. If there had been a legend somewhere, this would have been kind of a different story.
We did find coffins in Dwarf Castle as well, so any egg grind is going to be able to be done extremely quickly by these players.
McBain just continues to saw wood on this Baigen. This is not going to be an easy fight, and this is kind of the point, I think, in a race where you feel like you have to do it, because if you feel like you're in the lead, like the people who can get through this fight now are probably the ones that are going to do pretty well. He does get through. That's just a fantastic job by McBain, and he's kind of on a downhill slope for the rest of the run.
Yeah, this is huge. Those were very low levels in order to kill Baigen at this spot for McBain, so kudos for getting that done before the grind. And McBain has got to feel really far behind still now because of doing that Earth Crystal that had no payoff. So it's going to look like, oh wow, and it's challenging the Bahamut. No,
without even a
McBain,
save.
you didn't save or anything.
Oh my, that's amazing. What are
Why though? Oh, what? I mean, this is a big chunk of experience, but I don't know if it's enough of a chunk of experience to use the Star Veils and take the time when the eggs are right above you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, part of it might be that McBain didn't steal the Sirens again.
Yeah, I'm actually totally flabbergasted here. This could be either big brain or a disaster, because that that Baigen fight worked because of great execution from McBain and a little bit of luck in Rosa not getting targeted when she didn't have Blink on herself. And I don't know if Lightning can strike twice on that fight if he wipes on this Bahamut. Oof, but does get through just the Palom living, so could not have been looking for EXP. That wasn't worth it for just one character.
No, not worth the levels at all. All for a Sand Ruby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's only got 8 key items at this point. Like, the only thing that might be justifiable, like, is if you have 9 key items and you're hunting for that 10th key item. Now, as soon as he completes Cave Magnus, he will get the crystal, so he'll get, that's 9, and if that's another key item, that will be 10. So he might conceivably still reach the 10 key item threshold before his grind.
Yeah, he may be hoping for a key item from Cave Magnus, which would allow him to grind for Zeromus at double the rate of the other players. So if so, that would be great if that play pays off, because I doubt anyone else is going to fight the Bahamut.
Meanwhile, BursikBadger is actually going to be the first one that's going to show us what exactly is going to be in the Cave Magnus area. He found his Twin Harp and said, you know what, I'm just going to do this now. He does have his Darkness Crystal. He did visit kind of all the requisite checks, but he found his Twin Harp and said, I'm in go mode. Let's do the free checks before the grind, and then he's going to grind, and then he's going to do his, I imagine that's when he'll do his Pagan at that point in time. A little bit more traditional, and I think safer than what McBain did. We'll see if it pans out, though.
Yeah, I mean, the experience from this spot is not going to be helpful for Badger, but the knowledge of what the key item is could be extremely helpful for Badger, so we'll see.
Worst case scenario for Badger, this is the Legend Sword. Best case scenario for Badger, this is not a key item. This is just some random other piece of junk so that McBain does not get the bonus grind.
And we will be having our completely randomized batch of music here. So once once Badger gets done killing his own characters, we will get to the second phase's fight, and we will let you see what the music is. That music, of course, the battle theme from Final Fantasy I, and even better, one of our objectives holds the Alt Gauntlet, everyone's favorite time-wasting boss battle.
Absolutely. Depending on how you set this up, if you do not have the alt gauntlet flag on, the defend the bull spot is just kind of 5 sets of enemies that will have their level scaled and whatever, and it's kind of a boring fight. With the alt gauntlet on, though, it'll be 5 random encounter battles from whatever area you're in, which makes it just a little bit spicier because there's some tough monster fights that are throughout this entire fight. Like, for example, these panthers and ogres, like, this was a scary cave back in vanilla.
Oof. So not only do we have required music and required gold gauntlet, we had required vanilla Golbez as well.
Ew.
Smaepdii also showing off some nice quick menuing, getting Rosa back up before Dark Knight Cecil dies in order to get the experience from this fight. Nice work.
And I think the most difficult part about this particular alt gauntlet, you see here, there's like 7 enemies and 5 enemies. If you don't have anyone who can really sweep like Edge is doing with his magic, this can be a time-consuming fight more than anything. Because those enemies, I think, have the flying bit, so Quake won't help.
Yeah, you'd be surprised just how vital it is to have AoE damage in this game, considering how few sources of true AoE damage there are.
So Couch did go through the Sheila grind and found a rat tail. I gotta imagine he's gonna follow that.
That's actually at least gonna give Couch 10 key items by the time he gets his crystal, so that's actually an okay payoff.
And it's a magma key. Oh no. Okay, so that is actually optimal for McBain at this point in time. It's a key item that leads to absolutely no progression. So McBain, once he completes, will have his 10 key items, and we'll have all objectives done. So his grind is going to be much, much faster. McBain, Galaxy Brain playing, going ahead and doing the Bahamut fight for another key item. Just wow.
Yeah, this is really great for McBain, and it just shows a massive payoff, honestly, from doing that the Baigen early. It was a really tough fight that did take a lot of time, but now McBain knows everything, can do a grind. Is not punished at all for grinding now, and will be able to absolutely blow through all the rest of the game. And of course, we already have access to Zeromus, so no pass necessary. We have the Darkness Crystal. He's going to have to hike through the Lunar Subterrane, but that's a small price to pay to already know that you have everything you need.
All right. So now the question becomes for McBain because he doesn't have he doesn't have a very good grind set up. So does he go back and steal some sirens? Because I don't think we've seen them for sale anywhere. Bursik is set up and he's doing his egg grind right now. But I gotta wonder what McBain is going to be doing now.
Well, first off, I think McBain is going to check the character in the bed to get an agility anchor, perhaps, and see if we can replace one of the characters who's not a fourth Rosa in the bed. This is excellent, but we shall see what happens here. And if I'm McBain here, we haven't seen Tella anywhere. We do have Weak, but honestly, D Machines is not worth it at this point, in my opinion. I think it's going to be Siren stealing for McBain as well.
And looks like he's going to be committing to Zerk strats. He ditched his Palom. He said, I'm good. I don't need any more black magic. We're just going to punch Zeromus in the face.
Yeah, and there's 2 Artemis bows too, so if you feel confident, you could even berserk one of the Rosas. Meanwhile, our other runners, Couch is doing the Alt Gauntlet, is about to get basically everything he needs as well. Of course, McBain's still the only one who has killed that Baigen. Some of our other runners still haven't even realized that it's Baigen, which is going to be awkward news.
So McBain is activating his big whale right now. I'm still wondering what he's like until he goes back into the underground for his sirens. I'm wondering what his grind is going to be because he's pulled enough fast ones on me this race. I don't know.
This may be a situation where he's feeling pressured and is just going to do the bottom boss fights in Lunar Subterrane by the save point and fish for a few random encounters if he needs more EXP after that.
That's brassy at this point in time. I mean, I thought part of the reason why you set yourself up to get the 10 key items was to make any sort of egg grind easier.
Yeah, now if this is viable sirens, everything in this seed will have played out exactly to McBain's advantage. Oh my goodness, it's sirens. Are you kidding me?
Burn the witch! Burn it!
Everything is coming up aces for McBain in this game.
And 10 key items. He's got sirens now. He's got his hourglasses. I mean, nothing could be better for McBain. It's all just laying out there right for him. My God.
I literally can't believe it.
Oh, and here's the problem. Oh, Couch, buddy. Why aren't you casting fire with your edges?
We get a Moon Edward, which is going to go straight in the trash.
westward.
And our players are all making it here. We see Smaepdii is in Dwarf Castle, so we'll soon find the Twin Harp there. Bursik is going down to get these last objectives done, so it's all coming towards the same path. It's just McBain is just so well set up right now.
McBain was the first one to go into the underground. He avoided kind of the whole Earth Crystal dive. I think he did end up checking what the Earth Crystal was in terms of in the Troya treasure chest, but he dodged diving down that rabbit hole at that point in time, which saved him, you know, a good 10 minutes of time all told, because of the wyvern that was up there that required people to reset out and reattempt 2 different bosses at that point in time. And
Yeah,
then
really.
a low level Baigen, which just kudos to him on that.
Yeah, he saved a lot of grind time here, and honestly, the only way for this seed to have been done even faster than McBain did it is if someone went, like, got their characters and did the hook route right away.
So this is interesting. Instead of the more traditional, like, King Ryu grind, it looks like he is set up to do Warlocks.
I gotta think this has to do with the HP, because McBain no longer has a Black Mage, and the Warlocks have quite a bit, even though there's 3 Warlocks, the HP total is quite a bit less than the Ryus.
But plus he's also got an edge with a Mute Knife, which does work on these Warlocks, because they're magic casters. So even if you only get one off, it's still pretty fast. I mean, this is probably significantly faster, so heads up play by McBain, understanding what his party comp is, understanding what the probable best choice for him to be. I probably would have just gone straight King Ryu, so I was a little confused, but looking at it, Mute Knife, knowing that he's kind of under-leveled right now, these Warlocks are probably the superior grind in terms of a pure time save for him.
Yeah, and this just shows the kind of play and the kind of brains that are on these players by this deep in the tournament. You know, that means McBain knew exactly what resources he had at hand. And these other players are using all their advantages as well. We see Couch is getting some sirens now. Unfortunately, not knowing what we know, which is that sirens are for sale on the moon, but has killed Sid in order to make it just a little faster. Smaepdii, meanwhile, has gone through and is getting the hovercraft again. And Bursik is fighting the Baigen, and you can see just how much easier this fight is when you're at kind of levels the game expects you to be for this boss slot. The amount of damage is just night and day. The big question here for me is how many sirens is Couch going to steal, because you really don't want to have to come do this again. It's a big time sink to get the battle set up and to come and find the chest in the first place. So you do have 4 chances to do it, but you really don't want to do it more than once. And Smaepdii, didn't forget, does grab those ninja swords for both edges from the Cave Evelyn's shop now that he's got a bit more money. Bursik, I think, has not bought any illusions, so is having a bit of trouble here with Baigen, but is doing quite a bit of good damage, so I think should be able to still get through it.
Oh, thank you so much. Paul plays poorly with the 9 total gift subs handing out. Thank you so much for supporting RPG Limit Break, who supports us in the free enterprise.
Yeah, both RPG Limit Break and Randomania have been excellent partners for us for many tournaments now, so kudos and thank you for that, and for them for hosting us. Bursik does get through the Beigen fight, does get the objective complete, and now is getting his crystal. So it's just a grind now for Bursik, and then we'll be trailing McBain.
And looking at his levels, I gotta think this might be the last fight, because his like my key fight when I'm trying to set everything up is like as soon as I get Rosa over 2100 health, I'm good. Like I'm gone at that point in time. And it looks like, based on everything, yeah, Rosa gains 3 levels, learned white. Yeah, I'm out. McBain's at the right levels right now.
Yeah, meanwhile, Bursik, we can see, not happy, wants the 10th key item, so he's going to be checking Soph Cave to see if Sheila 1 coughs up anything. And we do know she has the rat tail, so this is going to pay off for Bursik. Bursik will be able to get the 10 key item boost for his grind as well.
At this point in the race, no runners have finished at all. Keep in mind, it's only the top 3 that advance into it, and it's among the runners that are featured on here, on Free Enterprise, and in Randomania. All of those runners, plus 1 extra because we ran out of room, are all running the same race, are all running the same seed. Top 3 will be advancing into the table stages. The rest, this will be the end of their tournament, unfortunately. We had kind of a massive 24-man race just last night it was, who had only a 1 winner advance at that point in time. Just so much hype around this point in time in this highway to the Threemus zone as we get ready to enter the table stages.
Yeah, that's right. Meanwhile, Smaepdii did show us the rat tail. It was actually the Luca key, which of course isn't useful because we've already stolen that key item. We will not be needing a demist hunt tonight either because we found that's not necessary. But that does give Smaepdii a little bit of a bonus because after getting the crystal, Smaepdii will also be a 10 key item. So we can see, although they've all arrived their different ways, most of our runners here are able to get their grinds on with the higher experience rate.
Well, McBain looks like he's satisfied with his grind, is on his way, is now going to be setting Rosa up to be able to actually cast. Like, interesting, equipping the silent staff and not the life staff.
Another interesting thing here is Couch has managed to get 10 key items without doing the Beigen objective yet. So Couch's Beigen fight is going to be way faster than anybody else's on this restream.
True. He's going to be, and it looks like he's doing his grind beforehand.
And has coffins in hand too, so it's awful quick.
6,800 for a quick death. It's just fantastic. The meta at this point in time really is to try to get up onto the moon to do some of those multi-enemy fights, which are a little bit more efficient. But if you're already here on Earth and you just need a handful of levels, yeah, these egg grinds are fine. 6,800 for a quick death.
And we see McBain is in the Zeromus zone area of the lunar subterranean, and I see some blue Z flags in the chat. So, Vitasia, do you want to do the honors tonight for this final match of the group stage?
Oh, thank you. I'm blessed. I feel so happy to be able to do this. So, one of the many things that we do in the free enterprise community is Zeromus. Once he reveals his true colors, we can't randomize Zeromus into the other bosses. That just doesn't feel fair. Putting Zeromus with his big bangs at Dandelion, that wouldn't be fair. So, what we do instead, Zeromus does show his true colors, but what his true colors are is randomized. So the question becomes, chat, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
That's right. While Smaepdii is in the Alt Gauntlet fight, we are getting the Crystal Throne for McBain. Zeromus' true colors emerge to show. Oh, it's Slimemus. You know, I believe this very RPG Limit Break host channel here has a slime emote if you don't want to get in on that.
while we do see Rosa throwing slows, didn't find any silk webs, so kind of going the long route, hard casting slow to try to slow down this Zeromus.
Yeah, now that Squaresoft and Enix have merged, you could say the Dragon War series is kind of Final Fantasy series' sibling, so it's very nice to see a sprite from Dragon Warrior here.
Slimus, next final boss in Final Fantasy 16, confirmed. You heard it here first. Meanwhile, McBain does get off the first nerfed Big Bang. Of course, his middle Rosa still ends up dying. It's kind of a free Big Bang to nerf at that point in time. If you time things right for the rest of the race, if you can cast a spell onto Zeromus after his shake, it will nerf his Big Bang to about half the damage, give or take, depending. But after the first one, it's a little bit difficult to set up.
Yeah, especially if you're still on battle speed 1, which McBain is. Now, I will say McBain is pretty well set up because even without nerfs, his Rosa is looking real beefy, and she is the one whose HP level we're going to be concerned about the most in the Zeromus fight.
Yeah, full Zerk strats at this point. His Kane's got a white lance. His edges are not the best equipped. Looks like some full moons and some daggers that are going on. But at this point, he's just planning on eating full Big Bangs. You can count on them doing roughly 2,000 damage or so. And he's got the HP to do it and just sit on your white mage and heal through. And he's good to go.
Yeah, this is looking quite good for McBain. Meanwhile, Bursik is the closest on this restream, is now heading down the lunar subterranean himself. Smaepdii finding that Magma key there, getting the objective to complete, and we'll be heading down to Baigen here shortly. Meanwhile, Couch is down at Baigen and we'll be fighting him. Like we said, it's going to be a much faster fight than we saw on McBain and Bursik's side.
And I believe at this point, McBain has gone through the HP refill of Zeromus. There's kind of an interesting HP refill mechanic for Zeromus for those folks who are unfamiliar with how all the background Final Fantasy IV programming. Long story short, they ran out of coding and they couldn't give him all the HP they wanted to, so instead they countered him at like 2 different 64,000 HP spots with an HP refill about midway.
Yeah, a lot of times you can spot the HP refill because Zeromus will shake, but then the Big Bang won't happen because his phase has changed, and then he'll have to shake again before he either black holes or Big Bangs you again.
McBain does get a black hole, which means all those Zerks that are off, he's going to have to reapply. So he's already got Rosa hard casting of the Zerk on probably his Kane, I would guess, because that's the one hitting the hardest right now. But already in medio phase, final phase of Zeromus, which means he is almost done.
Yeah, McBain was 100% prepared for the Z fight, so it pretty much went off like textbook. So this is nice. We're in medio phase, very pretty much out of danger now. Meanwhile, Bursik's showing us the reuse, so different grind techniques for everybody in this match so far.
And the flash and the bang, and McBain gets through. And everyone in chat, for your fans, McBain does finish in first place in the stream with a final time of 1:19:37. McBain moves on to the table stages, does continue on. GG's, McBain. We'll hope that he is around for a quickie interview here.
Yeah, you love to see it. This was exceedingly good play from McBain throughout. He was always aware of what his party could do, stretched the party and his resources inventory-wise to the limit. And I mean, finding those sirens at the end was a big stretch of luck, but I have to guess he had a plan to kind of find some EXP because he didn't need that much more. Just really stunning play, and it just all the dominoes lined up.
Absolutely GG.
We saw Bursik doing some gold reuse. Couch was scrambling eggs, and Smaepdii decided to scramble some eggs. So everyone will be heading towards the lunar subterranean here quite quickly. Smaepdii is heading down for that Baigen fight now. Couch just got through it and got the crystal. All 3 objectives complete for him as well.
And joining us is the man, the myth, the legend, McBain. GG's on first place finish and advancing to the table stages.
Thank you.
McBain, I gotta ask you first thing, how happy were you to see the sirens in that final shop?
I was pretty happy. I mean, it was a good insurance.
If they weren't there, what were you gonna do?
I was gonna go with that.
Oh.
Maybe I would have killed the ribbon room.
Well, first off, congratulations that you're now moving on to the table stage. First, not even second or third, first place out of 13 racers. This seed lined it up really well for you. That 10th key item was a get for sure.
Yep. I was really happy when the Twin Heart gave me a 10th item. Like, oh, I just saved time by doing ordeal.
Yeah, I think we were confused here in the commentators booth initially why you had a really kind of dramatic fight there with Baigen in the King Evelyn spots. Oh, he did great. And then you didn't save. Granted, it was Bahamut, so it was kind of free. But we were like, what is he doing? And we were like, oh, it's trying to key item hunt in order to get the 10 key items.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we do also have to applaud you killing that Baigen you were the only one on this restream who tried to do it at such a low level, and you really did it masterfully. You did get a little lucky that your Rosa didn't get sniped, but otherwise you were doing it exactly how it was necessary.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna go slow and steady. I bought 3 illusion. Good thing I had enough money for 3. But maybe 4 or 5 would have been better.
Yeah, when I realized you were gonna have to rely on your Rosa for the blinks, I was like, ooh, this could go badly, but you got through it great, so good work on that.
So I gotta ask, now that this is officially the last group flags race in this entire tournament, and a lot of us who've still been having to go do group flags haven't had a chance to practice the table. Have you done mini table flag? How much practice have you done? And how ready are you for that next stage?
I've heard like 5 or 6, and I'm not ready at all. I need to figure out how to do a Mag Giant grind.
We have a request from chat here, McBain. What'd you think of Slimus?
Oh, it was great.
You were well prepared for that Zeromus fight as well. Was 2400 HP on Rosa kind of your target, or did you get a little bit more EXP than you wanted?
I could have gone with the lower, but I was like, it was pretty fast just getting into 2 level extra. So I just bought some insurance.
Yeah, come to think of it, you decided to do the mages instead of the reuse. Was that something that you prefer to do when you have moon access, or was it because of you had the mute knife?
Because I had the new knife. I prefer the King Dragon, but because of the knife, I said I'm just gonna do wizard instead.
Very cool. Just one of the heads-up plays you've had. Is there anything else that you want to say about this seed before we go to your opponent's Z fights?
No, I think it was a pretty straightforward seed. I think just like I said, doing ordeals paid off at the end. So it's pretty good for me, I guess.
Cool. Well, thank you for being Restreamed today, and congratulations on the win, and good luck moving on to that spicy 32 table flag round.
Thank you.
Back to the action here. We see Couch 23 is fighting an Ogopogo on the moon. I gotta expect looking for some experience, and did take Edward as well. I can only guess to be an agility anchor. So I would expect to see him dead before the end of this fight.
Looks like they threw the spoon on him, and he's gonna try swinging at Ogopogo. This is a little bit gutsy. I kind of like it, Couch. Oh, he did equip him. He still has the hard part. Couch making me a liar. My goodness.
Bursik having a little bit of trouble here. Gets Black Hole. Rosa's down. You can see his Rosa only has 2144 HP. That's not enough to make her safe from the highest damage rolls of Big Bang. Sid is down, of course. We expect that because he is a lower level due to being dead on purpose during the level grind for agility anchoring. And this could get spicy here because Bursik needs to keep Rosa alive, and she needs to get this Cure 4 off before the next Big Bang. Yeah, just barely managed to save it there, and we gotta expect the other two characters are gonna remain dead to make sure the heals fully heal every time.
So I do want to give everyone an update. At this point in time, we do have 2 other finishers for the race. So our top 3 have been determined. Prof. Corey finished in 2nd place with a 1:21:37. And a Stone Dingley finished in 3rd place with a time of 1:24:23. So our top 3 runners have been determined, who will be advancing into the table stages of this tournament. At this point in time, it's all about pride.
Yeah, it's crazy to see the top 3 finishers within a couple of minutes of each other in a seed like this. There were so many choices available, and you know, we keep talking about how many runners are here, but 13 is not enough to ensure that every single path was taken here. So we can see just this will be some VODs to watch back for sure to see what the top 3 did.
I would imagine most of them were very similar to how McBain did. Maybe, I gotta think McBain maybe did his Beigen fight maybe a little bit sooner than anyone else. But other than that, I mean, because there wasn't much separation, do a few egg grinds just to make sure your levels are safe. Maybe steal the sirens instead of waiting to purchase them, because that was just galaxy brain play by McBain at that point.
You know, I think Couch either didn't have the money for sirens or didn't check the shop, because he is opening trap chests here and fighting red and blue dragons, which would not be my first choice for levels at all.
Oh god, I think I'd be doing Silk Cave grinds before I did that.
Ooh, and trashing the Excalibur just for the swag.
He just wants to be rude at this point.
Not even going to throw it at Zeromus, but it will be heading into the Zeromus fight himself now.
Meanwhile, Bursik is on Meteor Phase.
Yeah, looks like managed to just barely hold out here. Characters are dead except Rosa and that Edge, but with both of them near full HP, should be pretty safe no matter what happens here in Meteor. And we can see Smaepdii is now heading down as well. So we're going to have our remaining Restreamed racers here. Just 10 minutes after McBain, everyone will be in the Z fight. This is pretty impressive considering how different both the grinding strategies and the routing for all of these runners were in this race.
Yeah, and this is just an absolutely stacked race. Everyone gets through it pretty quick. BursikBadger does end up completing Zeromus and does finish, get this, 9th place at 1:30.59. So keep in mind, he is only about 10 minutes behind McBain, and between McBain and Bursik, 8 other people finished. Just all this clumped together. You know, there was a lot of routing divergence early on, and some people dove early, some people dove late, and things like that. But when it all comes said and done, there's only a 10-minute difference between these guys. Just a fantastic job by all of these runners, all of them proving why they're in the hook route, or in the Magma route to begin with, even. Just all fantastic runners.
Yeah, you definitely love to see this much skill and only that much between McBain and Bursik. And speaking of Bursik, we are now joined by BursikBadger, who still needs to get a mic unmuted, I think, but here he is now.
I guess.
All right, Bursik, we can hear you just fine.
Okay, good.
GG's wonderful race run. I mean, obviously you didn't end up how you wanted it to, but what was your thoughts as you were going through this?
Zot felt terrible. And from what I hear, that's anybody who did it has a similar opinion. That early Val into Wyvern is I'm glad I only reset once on each of them, but to find nothing at the end of that was pretty gross.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it's felt like the defining factor. On our restream, McBain is the only one who opted to skip Zod, went right to the underground, and of course, he ended up winning the whole thing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I still got underground in good time, but that, you waste, I don't know how much, at least 5 minutes at that tower. No, this is, everybody in this race is really good, and that's gonna hurt.
Now, I missed Bursik. Did you see Vigan at the king spot before or after you did your grind?
Before. Oh yeah, I got down there. I'm like, oh, that's gonna take a little bit. We'll see if I can maybe get halfway through like that forge somewhere. Because I think I didn't. You get the twin harp down there, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go check that, and I still put off the Sheila 1 freebie, but maybe I can find Forge somewhere instead of doing that thing, because that's not fun either. That's about the worst place. I mean, there's a couple worse places, but that's really high up there for where you don't want to find Vigan.
Yeah, I think McBain did it at low levels. He had some illusion. He had, and he did it kind of almost immediately after. He didn't do any sort of grind whatsoever, so it took him some time, but got through it, and then was blessed. He didn't steal any sirens from the tower, but they were for sale on the moon.
Yeah, I saw that at the end too. Yeah, I stole some. I ducked straight into tower to get the objective out of the way, and just stole some because I wanted absolute surety of having warp on to get that
Yeah.
off.
That was a smooth move, and I wish it had paid off because everybody was very careful to make sure they had warp, and it was just that assassin dagger. But you know,
Yeah.
some things pay off, some things don't. Like that darkness crystal on the way to see that Vigen. How'd you feel about that?
That was. Oh wait. Oh right. Darkness crystal was there. Sorry, I was thinking. I was mixing up with the twin harp. I mean, yeah. At that point, I just got the twin harp, so that was go mode. It's just like, okay, I just have to kill this whatever's down here, and oh, it's a gross Vigen. Let's try and avoid this. But, yeah, I mean, I kind of felt behind the whole time just after that stop, because I'm like, I'm sure there's a couple other people that came up here and had a little bit of trouble, but you know, it just felt bad from the beginning, even getting underground and getting the fire.
Meanwhile, we do see Couch 23 finished in 11th place, the time of 1:34.35. Smaepdii is right on his tail here.
Well, Bursik, this may be the end of the tournament for you, but is there anything you'd like to say about the tournament overall or this seed in general before we let you go?
I'm pretty happy with how I did. I didn't quite get. I'm kind of in the same place I did with the Little Gauntlet, where I just barely missed the top 32. And but it was a lot of fun. Thanks for everybody working on the restreams. I hope I can help out even more with that. You know, and I can't wait to see how this whole thing turns out.
And thank you again for being restreamed. And now we are back in the action, as Smaepdii is the only one of our runners who is still fighting Zeromus. And we have had Couch finish, as Vitasia said earlier. And we will see if we can get Couch in here for an interview as well.
That sounds like a Couch 23 joining us in chat.
Yo, what's up? How's it going?
Well, yeah, you know, great match here. And don't think we didn't see you throw away that Excalibur before you went to Zeromus.
I don't know what you're talking about, all right? That
could have
was
at least thrown it.
completely accidental. No, it belongs in the trash, all right?
Now, can you tell us what was going on there in the lunar subterrane? Were you just looking for a little bit more experience, or what was going on with the red and blue dragon chest?
I saw the dot duns and I was like, I'm done. I'm just gonna pop chests and check bosses for the hell of it. That's about it. I'm good. We were having fun. That's the whole point of the tournament, right? Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider fighting Lunar Ogopogo fun, sure.
It was easy. We were already ground post-Zeromus stuff. We're good.
I didn't say the point of the tournament is to win, but you know, I'm also eliminated, so I'm right there with you.
That's why you joined the table salt tournament that's going on, right?
Means I would want to do the table flags, and I honestly do the table flags.
Well, we learned that the objective that none of you did was hiding at the top boss spot. The Legend Sword is at the top boss spot at the moon. That was never on your radar, I know, but did you see the sirens in the shop on the moon?
No, I didn't even go to that shop. I saw the dot done, I was on my way, and then I saw the next dot done, and I was like, it is what it is. And I just kind of went with it. It's what it is. It's fun. It's a good tournament.
The defining feature really ended up being, you know, who dove Zot and who didn't. And those people
Exactly.
I thought. I mean, that was just a rabbit hole that sucked half of you guys in.
I mean, I see Earth Crystal, I'm going to take it. May as well, right?
Meanwhile, Smaepdii does finish with a time of 1:38.17. So that is all of our restream. Maybe Smaepdii will be in here joining us before too long. But Couch, can you tell us a little bit kind of your feelings on the tournament overall as a whole?
Oh, the tournament's been fantastic. Like, I've had such a blast. There's so many like fantastic and good runners. Like, every single runner that I've gone up against has been amazing, and I have nothing but mad respect for them. It's been so great. And commentators, restreamers, admins, like everybody's done their fantastic part, and like I'm so happy to be a part of this. And I plan on volunteering a lot more down the line now that I'm pretty free.
Well, thank you for coming out tonight. I mean, only about 15 minutes behind McBain and the other finishers who are moving on. So you definitely gave us a good showing, regardless of how it turned out for you in the end.
Yeah, no, I was glad to race. It's a fantastic group here. Everybody's just so good now. Like it's so different, even from just like even a year ago. Like the skill level has like skyrocketed so high. It's so amazing to see. Just like this level of play is so amazing to see, just from everybody, instead of like 10 or so people. Like everybody being this good is so fantastic. Like it's so amazing.
Awesome. Well, I think we will get moving on here to Smaepdii, who is our last finisher on this restream. Thank you again, Couch. And we'll see you in the commentary booth maybe later.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you again for commentating. Thank you for tracking. Thank you for restreaming. Thank you to the admin crew. Thank you to chat for watching. Like, this is fantastic. Y'all have a good Smaepdii. Congratulations on playing in general. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the table salt tournament.
And with that, Smaepdii, I hope, is here in chat. GG's.
I'm free, finally. Oh, it's all over. You have no idea how much of a burden hope is. And to finally cast it off, oh, it's so great.
So what you're saying is, now that you're out of the tournament, you feel a little bit of weight off your shoulders, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I never expected to get this far. This is the furthest I've gotten in one of these tournaments. And the caliber of player just keeps getting higher and higher the longer it goes on, which is just amazing to see. Just the growth of Free Enterprise over the last 2 years that I've been playing it. It's just phenomenal seeing people, just all these new names coming over and storming through and just getting so good at the game. And it's great to know that the skill that you had a year ago just isn't good enough to cut it anymore. Just there's still so much to shave off and to learn about this game, and that's why I love it so much. So it's really phenomenal to see.
Well, I've asked the other runners from this restream, but how'd you feel about just catching that swag Darkness Crystal on your way to the Baigen objective?
It was kind of whatever at that point. I mean, I knew there was going to have to be some moon access somewhere in the Fey March, either that or behind some kind of gate that was left over there, because that was all I had left was the Fey March, and nothing else had really paid off like I'd hoped it would. So I was like, it's here somewhere, and then it's in the free chest, and I'm like, yeah, it figures. I think that was shortly before McBain put his dot in. So yeah, as soon as everything added up once I saw those two things. So.
Definitely cool. And as it turns out, you were one of the players on our stream that went up the Tower of Zot.
I burned that tower to the ground. Never again. I'm never setting foot in there again. Just the Volvalis into Wyvern is just so absolutely trolly, and then having absolutely nothing to show for it at the end was just... I knew I was playing from a deficit at that point, and I just couldn't catch a break after that. So
yeah, that seemed to be the difference between the people who succeeded and the people who maybe had a little bit more time on their hands at the very end, or will have more time on their hands in the next coming months.
Yeah, ultimately I messed around too much in the overworld. When the seed gives you 2 edges, there's really no reason to be messing around too much. You can storm that hook route and get things taken care of, especially since one of the bosses was completely free in the form of Kaipo guards. But yeah, I played a little bit too conservative. Didn't get aggressive enough when I needed to, and it shows. This was a really straightforward seed, and it was very it was very execution heavy, and shows you the gap that good execution can get you in this game. So it was a really good showcase of that.
Absolutely. So, while we're trying to get things wrapped up here, do you have any kind of final thoughts about the tournament as a whole?
I've been absolutely amazed at not only the amount of support that we've gotten from the fans, everybody coming out to watch, but from the volunteers as well. We have broadcast an absurd amount of matches. Just an enormous percentage of the overall matches have actually been live and restreamed, and we couldn't do that without the just overwhelming outpouring of volunteer support that we've had. I mean, the fact that we have, had a dozen plus runners in this and got most of them restreamed is just a testament to that. So, just wanted to say a huge shout out to all the volunteers out there watching. Everybody who just comes in to tune in and enjoy it, thank you so much. Like I said, watching this game grow over the last 2 years have just been it warms my heart. It literally warms my heart, and it makes me really happy to be a part of this community. So seriously, thank you, everybody. You're not away from me yet. I'm going to be doing plenty of volunteering myself, so don't think you're rid of me yet. But it's the last you'll see of me from this side of things, at least.
We would never dream of being rid of you, man.
Well, thank you again, Smaepdii, and maybe we'll see you in Table Salt, or of course in the tracking, restream, or commentary booths later.
Yeah, you got it. Take care, everybody. Thanks again.
Well, and that's going to be it for us here on the RPG Limit Break branch of this qualifier. This was brought to you by Moonblaze Wolf, who's our restreamer tonight. We actually had 2 trackers, Bahamut X and Ground Flyer, so thank you for all your hard work behind the scenes. And of course, my co-commentator here, Vitasia.